I knew he was trying to kill me, and I just braced myself on the floor. The first bullet pierced my right thigh. And all I could think of is, Lord Jesus, please don't let it hurt. I was in a coma for 5 days on life support. On the 5th day, I woke up and I whispered to my daughter, thank God I'm alive.
When I came to Rockford, things were very different for domestic violence victims than they are now. We used to have forms available for defendants to take home to get victims to sign off saying they didn't want to pursue charges. You had to wait 3 days before criminal charges would even be considered to be pressed.
When you couldn't determine who was the aggressor, we would usually take both people.
There was no coordination with our partner abuse intervention program providers. There was no compliance monitoring of order protection orders.
There was an incentive for litigants to forum shop. Perhaps the judge next week would be more receptive to their point of view. As a result, victims frequently gave up.
Approximately 1/4 of the calls for help to law enforcement were domestic violence related. And we just knew that it was an issue that weighed heavy on our system. And we wanted to make sure that our response was the best that it could be. And so she's going to make that a priority to be available during that time.
That's wonderful.
Taylor, who is our probation advocate and walk-in counselor here on site, has started promoting a domestic violence education and support group that she's going to actually have on site here.
We set up a domestic violence assistance office in the courthouse, and that was the very first component of pulling together a coordinated system. As the years went by, we started looking at how do we handle these cases in the court system.
When we first rolled out the idea of the domestic violence coordinated courts, there was a lot of pushback. It's not an assembly line. Each family has to have their issues addressed in a meaningful way, and the remedies have to be crafted family per family.
This is not about anybody else's issue, this is about you.
They applied to the Office on Violence Against Women for a grant to bring together a coordinated court system where not only could we have a dedicated judge or dedicated judges, but we could have that focused advocacy.
Having a coordinated approach absolutely makes sense. The criminal justice system is complicated enough for those on the outside. And a victim who already is stressed by what they're going through, we shouldn't be stressing them further by putting them in a system that is confusing and difficult.
You think if he takes his medication, if he remains alcohol and drug free, except for his prescribed medications, that you're comfortable with him having contact with the children or you as long as your father is present. All right. So what I think we should do is that we should continue the order protection but modify it to reflect your wishes. Do you want to try that?
I will try that.
An important feature of the coordinated court system is that we keep one judge with one family. With one judge and one family, the judge is familiar with what is going on when multiple petitions are filed and when multiple cases are filed.
And that's beneficial to a victim so that they only have to tell their story one time. They don't have to come back multiple times for the different cases.
The prosecutors have been through all specialized training. The defense attorneys have been through specialized training.
The training that I've had was essential for me to understand what is going on in domestic violence.
We always have victim advocates in the courtroom.
We help a victim write an order of protection. I accompany them to court. I usually call them beforehand and explain the court process to them just so they know what's going on before they come.
We provide shelter 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, legal advocacy, transitional housing, children's counseling, walk-in counseling, and services to engage with the law enforcement community so that your case can go forward.
Our bailiffs keep our victims and our abusers away from one another, and so we try to stagger the times they leave from court. We can also have our safety officers walk victims to their car in the event that they feel unsafe.
We have a safe visitation exchange center that we use a great deal. And what that is, we call it Children's Safe Harbor.
Parents use separate entrances, separate parking lots, staggered arrival times. We have security on site.
A respondent might have an attorney, and the victim would feel intimidated that they weren't being represented, and they would end up dropping their case because they felt like there was no way that they could win. We have established a pro bono attorney project, and so we can get the victim an attorney as well.
Do you feel that your family is safer now because of this?
Absolutely. Not only is it helping me to become a better man, and I found there's so many different forms of abuse that I didn't even recognize before.
Treatment is the key for us to a lot of things. Everybody who's involved in the system wants people to stop hurting each other.
I've learned to really control my anger.
The Partner Abuse Intervention Program is 26 weeks long. We meet once a week for 90 minutes. There's no victim blaming, so that individual knows I'm there because of my prior beliefs and my behaviors, and I'm here to learn new behaviors and change my beliefs.
Most people ordered to domestic violence probation are ordered to attend the Domestic Violence Victim Impact Panel. The goal of the panel is both to, elicit empathy for attendees and really give them an idea of how domestic violence maybe impacts not only a victim, but maybe the victim's family, maybe the offender's family.
What really helped me a lot was being able to speak on a domestic violence panel. The first time I went there, I had to pray because I was angry to see that it was that many men actually putting their hands on women.
So this is your final warning on this.
Okay.
Safety of members of our community is paramount. We know that people are safer if people attend classes.
Right.
So you either attend these classes or the court has to look at other sanctions.
The layperson may not understand how little coordination of information is automatic. So the docket coordinator's job is to kind of pull all those pieces together to provide that information to the judge so nothing falls through the cracks.
So the report says that he attended 3 sessions, stopped attending, was discharged. He started again, attended 7 sessions, and then was discharged for non-attendance. This is a problem.
The reason for his non-attendance was due to his license being suspended, and then he didn't have transportation to get there.
Well, it's not an acceptable excuse. I mean, he's going to have to make measures to get there.
It is on a bus line.
So he could take a bus.
Having judicial monitoring in addition to probation, I think, is an essential part to the domestic violence court because it really helps improve accountability.
If they're not complying with the terms of my orders, there are sanctions. So I might put them in jail for a couple days. I might make them sit for an entire day or 2 days in my jury box and watch me run my call.
Perpetrators are getting the message every single day. The judges are paying attention, that we know who they are, that we know what they've done in the past, that we remember what they said at prior court hearings, and then we're holding them accountable.
For our after hours related to this IllinoisProtectionOrder.org, we did have our second after hours emergency.
Judge Collins always describes us as that slow drip of water that carves the rock. Just our persistence makes the change happen over time, and we don't always notice it. I think definitely just making domestic violence a priority in our community is one of the biggest changes I've seen over time.
It's great to have a family domestic violence court, that they have one judge that focuses on domestic violence. That's awesome. So I think it's awesome that they have, outreach programs that can help them and make them feel safe.
Well, I have great hopes for the future in Winnebago County and the city of Rockford. So we have, I think, a great synergy of people in the community who really care about this issue, who really know we're going to make a difference and that we are going to change the lives of children in our community. And I think there's nothing but better times to come. Okay, that concludes our call.